Welcome viewers. This video is on CBSE English for the students of Class 12. In this video, the lesson Lost Spring by the writer Anees Jung has been explained for easy understanding of the topic by the students. Lost Spring is based on a delicate theme which forms the central point of the lesson. Many poor children are deprived of enjoyment of their childhood, and in their formative years they are forced to work for money which people usually do during their adulthood. The writer raises awareness in this lesson on the fact that child must be given the opportunity to enjoy childhood like the children belonging to rich families. Talking about the characters in the lesson, there are three predominant characters. One is Saheb. Saheb is a rag picker. Another child is Mukesh, who belongs to Bengal making industry. And the third child is the young girl Sabita, who is also a bangle maker. Apart from these three children, there is Mukesh's grandmother. Additionally, Anees Jung, the writer, is another character who interacts with the children of the deprived childhood. Well, before we get into the lesson, let's be acquainted with the writer's details. Here are the details of the writer's profile. Lost Spring was written by Anees Jung. She was born in Rourkela in Odisha and was grown up in Hyderabad. Her education was in Hyderabad and in the USA. She was inspired by her parents, who were also the writers. Professionally, she was an editor, author, and columnist for many eminent newspapers. This lesson is an excerpt from her book titled Lost Spring: Stories of Stolen Childhood. In the lesson, she analyzes how the poor children are deprived of their childhood and are subjected to exploitation and suffering in life. Now, here is the text of the lesson. Let's come to page number 13. Page number 13 describes the struggle and the lack of options and opportunity for a child like Saheb. At the beginning of the lesson, we find a face-to-face meeting between the author and the young boy named Saheb. This boy does not belong to India, but to Bangladesh. He left his parental home in Dhaka because Bangladesh is very often devastated by storms that destroyed their fields and homes. Saheb says that he has nothing to do except rag picking. Do you know what rag picking is? It is looking into the garbage dump to get some uncasable item like plastic, metallic pieces and other things which can be sold for money. Another important point in page number 13 is the author suggests that Saheb should go to school, but she realizes that Saheb's circumstances would not permit him for education. Now in page number 13, here are some words, the meanings of which you should know. Scrounging means searching persistently. Garbage dumps means heaps of waste material. Distant memory means of long back. Swept away means completely destroyed. Gold contextually does not mean the material out of which ornaments are made. It is a source of income. Mutters means speaks in a low voice. Glibly means speaking in a superficial manner. Hollow means meaningless. Realizing means becoming aware of something. In page 13, here is a literary device. In the expression looking for gold in the city, in big city, is a metaphorical expression. Here gold does not represent the yellow metal, as I said, for making ornaments, but it refers to sources of income. Such a literary device is a metaphor. In page 13, here are a few extracts, out of which questions may be expected in the examination. One line from the text is, sometimes I find a rupee in the garbage. This is what is being said by Saheb. I have nothing else to do. This is also another line. This can be an extract out of which questions can be made. Now, come to 14. In this page, the writer discusses Saheb's hope for education and his perpetual state of poverty. The important point in this page are that there is no school in Saheb's neighborhood. Anees Jung jokingly asking Saheb if Saheb would go to school if she starts a school nearby. Saheb agrees to the proposal. But later on, the writer repents, realizing that she made a false promise, and such false promises without their fulfillment are frequently made to the poor people by many. And another point is, Saheb's name is Saheb Alam, but its meaning, which means God, this meaning is not known to Saheb. Saheb was barefooted. I mean, she was not wearing shoes. One boy explained that his mother did not bring shoes to him from the shelf. This is an explanation from the boy. Another boy was wearing mismatched shoes. On the issue of wearing shoes, the author reflects whether the tradition of staying barefoot is merely an excuse to explain the constant poverty of the poor. Page 14 is these words, the meanings of which you should know, you should be clear about. Half joking means light-heartedly. Abound means full. Bleak means without any hope or prospect. Unaware means without any consciousness. Roaming means moving without specific destination. Army, here large number of people. Barefoot means without shoes. Perpetual means indefinitely or constantly. Excuse is a justification. Tradition is a community practice. Worthy means deserving attention or respect. In page 14, let us talk about the literary device. The author's casual question about studying a school and Sarat's enthusiastic response creates an ironic contrast between the author's remark and the genuine desire of the boy for education. Here, irony is the literary device. Page number 14, here also we find some extracts, some lines from the page. But promises like mine abound in every corner of this bleak world. It is not the lack of money, but a tradition to stay barefoot is one explanation. I wonder if this is only an excuse to explain away a perpetual state of poverty. So these two lines from the text, they are the extracts out of which questions can be made. Now, come to page number 15. This page discusses the struggle for survival and the significance of garbage in Simapuri. The writer is talking about Simapuri, a place near Delhi. Simapuri is full of rag pickers. Relating to that, in the page starts with a story from the man of Udupi. Udupi is a place. And that man from Udupi who used to pray for a pair of shoes as a young boy. Now the place of the temple where this man's father was working as a priest, as a Brahmin, has now become less populated, but this place has become financially improved. An important point in the page is the author comes across a young boy in a grey uniform wearing shoes, and it represents the change of situation in the place. Financially, people have improved. There are many rag pickers today in the author's neighborhood who remain barefoot. This is what the writer is pointing out. The author also talks about Simapuri, a place on the outskirts of Delhi where 10,000 rag pickers are living in poor structures without healthy amenities. These rag pickers have migrated from Bangladesh for food. These people have been living without formal identification. For the Simapuri residents, rag picking is the means of survival. For children, the importance of rag picking is not the same as that of the adults. In page number 15, here are a few words, meanings of which you should know. Desolation, here less populated. Periphery, outside the boundary. Squatters, people without legal rights on property. Devoid, without. Ration card is a document that enables the purchase of essential goods at subsidized rates. Tattered means torn or worn out. Garbage means waste material or discarded items. Art is a refined skill. Verse 15 also talks about the literary device. There is one literary device used in the statement, garbage to them is gold. It is an example of metaphor. Gold is not used here, as I have said. Gold is not a metal here. It is referred here as a source of income. In page 15 also we find an extract. The extract is, garbage to them is gold. It is their daily bread, a roof over their heads, even if it is a leaking roof. Come to page number 16. This page discusses this childhood wonder and the adult reality is. For the children, this garbage is full of wonders, but elders view it as a means of survival. Coming to another point, the writer says, children are interested in games and sports. And to illustrate the point, here is an instance given. Sahib watches two people playing tennis. It shows the interest of children in the games and sports. Sahib is seen wearing the discarded tennis shoes, even if they have the holes in them. Apart from the description of the interest of the children in games and sports, here is another example given by the writer. Sahib is one day seen found working in a tea stall where he gets 800 rupees as salary in addition to free meals. Here the writer says in spite of having this employment, Sahib has no independence. This is another important point to note. In page 16 we find certain words. Scrounging means searching for something. Content means pleased, discarded, no longer wanted. Carefree means without worries. Canister is container, cylindrical in shape. Shift, a change from one state to another. Demeanor means outdated behavior or conduct. Page 16 has these lines as extracts. It seems that for children, garbage has a meaning different from what it means to their parents. For the children, it is wrapped up in wonder. For the elders, it is a means of survival. Come to page number 17. In page number 17, there is a description of another boy known as Mukesh. He was working as a bangle maker in Firozabad. Mukesh wants to be different. He doesn't want to be a bangle maker, so he wants to be a motor mechanic. He has that dream, the dream of driving a car. Talking about bangle making industry, the writer says that Firozabad is the place known for bangle making, and this Firozabad is filled with bangle makers. The entire family of Mukesh has been engaged in bangle making profession over the generations. Working in glass furnaces at high temperatures is illegal for children like Mukesh, but they are forced to work due to poverty. In spite of the dangers of the bangle industry, around 20,000 children work in these furnaces. Mukesh took the author to his house, which was being rebuilt. They walked through the narrow lanes filled with garbage and reached the house where his sister-in-law was cooking the evening meals. They were living in a single room, and this room had a firewood stove and platters with chopped vegetables, and the environment was smoky. Mukesh had his elder brother also. In this page 17, we find some words, meanings of which you should know. Mirage means unrealizable dream. Looms means appears. Bangles are the decorative bracelets or ornaments worn on the wrist. Illegal, forbidden by law. Furnaces, enclosed structure used for heating or melting materials at high temperature. Dingy, gloomy or dark. Slug, to work hard. Coexisting, existing or living together in the same space or time. Primeval, existing from the earlier time. In page 17, we find certain literary devices, and these literary devices is symbolism. The mention of Mukesh's dream to drive a car and become a motor mechanic symbolize his desire to be different, to be financially sound. So this is symbolism. In page 17, we have some extracts, lines from the text, from which questions can be set in the examination. The line is, I want to drive a car. It may be a small line, but it has profound meaning in it. Come to page number 18. This page discusses the craft of bangle making and the weight of tradition on the bangle makers. The daughter-in-law of the house commands respect and is responsible for making meals for the three male members. The bangle maker has worked hard for many years but has not been able to renovate their house and send his children to school for education. The grandmother admits that their destiny as bangle makers is predetermined by the Almighty. This shows the superstition of the bangle makers because they do not have sufficient education. In another point, the writer says Firozabad is known for its bangle making industry. Children and adults work together in dark rooms, joining pieces of colored glass into bangles. The work is very dangerous indeed because many individuals they end up losing their eyesight before adulthood. The young girl named Swabita continues making bangles without understanding that bangles symbolize auspiciousness in marriage and carry cultural significance for Indian women. Mukesh's grandmother has lost the eyesight. This is something pitiable, something painful to note. In page 18, we have some words and meanings of which you should know. Bahu means daughter-in-law. In Indian culture, veil means a piece of fabric for facial covering. Custom is a tradition, widely accepted practice or behavior. Impoverished means extremely poor. Renovate to improve the condition of a building. Destiny is a predetermined course of events or fate. Mounds means piles or heaps of things. Shanty town, ordinary housing without amenities. Draped is covered with cloth. Henna is a reddish brown color agent for temporary body art. And one literary device is there in page number 18. The mention of the bangles as a symbol of an Indian woman's suhag Swag means auspiciousness in marriage. It represents cultural traditions, marriage, and womanhood. The bangles hold a deeper meaning beyond their physical appearance. So here the device is symbolism. In page 18, here are a few extracts. The line is, "It is his karam, his destiny." This is spoken by the grandma of the family. Another line, "Can a God-given lineage be broken?" She implies. Another line spoken by the grandma. As her hands move mechanically like the tongues of a machine, I wonder if she knows the sanctity of the bangles she helps make. It symbolizes an Indian woman's suhag, auspiciousness in marriage. This is a reflection about Sabita. In page number 19, we find another new idea. This page number 19 describes the poverty and exploitation of the bangle makers. Grandma of Mukesh expresses her life without a full meal throughout her life. Square meal a day she has not been able to get throughout her life. The community practically cries for not having enough of money to sustain themselves. The idea of starting a cooperative for financial development, when suggested by the writer, it is said that it has not been possible due to the interference of police. At the root, there is a lack of leadership to guide these young people in bangle making industry. This page highlights the presence of two distinct worlds. One, the impoverished families burdened by caste stigma, and two, exploiters involving middlemen, police, law-keepers, bureaucrats and politicians. In page number 19, we have these words. Drained means without energy. Read means to have received. Initiative, ability to take action. Vicious circle, a situation full of negativity. Middlemen means exploiters. Hauled up, foreseeably heckled. Apathy, lack of interest or lack of concern. Stigma, it's a negative social perception. Sahukars means money lenders. Bureaucrats, officials working in the administrative system. In page number 19, we have some extracts, some lines from the text. Ek okt sher bhar khana bhi nahi khaya. This is the statement. Means a full square meal a day I have not been able to get throughout my life. This is expressed by the grandma of Mukesh. Another line. I see two distinct worlds. This is the reflection of the writer. One of the family, caught in the web of poverty, burdened by the stigma of caste in which they are born. The other, a vicious circle of the sahukars, the middlemen, the policemen, the keepers of law, the bureaucrats and the politicians. This is a very important line. Now, page number 20. This is the last page of the lesson, and in this last page of the lesson, the writer describes the chains with the bangle makers. Practically, the child has inherited the burden in bangle making industry, burden of the family and of the community. And daring to go against this norm is quite difficult on the part of the bangle makers, because bangle makers are circumstantially compelled not to cross the boundary. And the narrator finds hope that there is the desire in Mukesh to be different. Mukesh does not want to be confined in the bangle making industry. Mukesh has a strong desire to learn the skills of motor mechanism. Finally, Mukesh is not dreaming of flying an aeroplane but wants to be a mechanic, and that is his aspiration. There is a contrast between the dreams of Mukesh and the reality of his surrounding, because cars are accessible, aeroplanes are not accessible on the part of Mukesh. In page number 20, we have these words. Let us know their meanings. Baggage. Metaphorically, baggage represents the burden. There, to have the courage, flash, a brief glimpse of anything. Contained, satisfied, hurling means moving at a very fast speed. In page 20, there is also an extract. The line is, in his small murder, there is an embarrassment that has not yet turned into regret. And finally, the lesson has come to an end, and we'll find at the end a message of the lesson. There is an urgent requirement to address the social issues and provide equal opportunities to individuals to get away from poverty while pursuing their aspiration. In other words, there is a need for equal opportunities and the pursuit of dreams with challenging circumstances. Because every child deserves enjoyment of childhood without converting this childhood to adulthood. Thank you for watching.